Welcome to another episode of The Engineer. This is episode 3 of the Abundance Mandate, and I am the engineer. In episode 1, I laid out my concerns about what AI and robotics mean to the future, especially the future of work. And in episode 2, I added some historical context by discussing another period in our history when we had similar issues and how we dealt with it. I then outlined my take on how we must deal with it now in the age of AI and robotics. My approach consists of 3 pillars: UBS, Universal Basic Services; UBE, Universal Basic Equity; and UBC, Universal Basic Contribution. In episode 3, I will detail how these programs work. But let's get something straight first. Getting ahead in America has always and will always require working hard and being smart about it. Nothing in my suggested solutions will change that. It's just a recognition that in the age of AI and robotics, there'll be a growing number of people that will not be able to participate in that way as jobs get eaten by machines. Now let's start someplace familiar. Not with theory or ideology or policy debates. Let me start with a number. There's one number most of us know by heart. This is the number that lives rent-free in your head every single month. What does it cost for you to just keep going? This includes rent, food, utilities, healthcare, phone, internet, and even mobility. Not luxuries, just the basics. The minimum to not fall behind. For most people living in the middle of the country, that number hovers around $4,000 a month. And if we're being honest, that number isn't just theory, it's reality. It's the quiet anxiety that creeps in when the calendar flips and you start doing the mental subtraction all over again. So let's start there, because any system that doesn't address that feeling isn't worth building. Pillar 1 is Universal Basic Services, which is intended to remove survival from the market. And right away I need to clear something up. Universal doesn't mean unlimited. It doesn't mean unconditional everything. It means universal access to a defined baseline. And we already accept this logic elsewhere. Everyone has access to public roads, not private chauffeurs. Everyone has access to public education, not unlimited elite tutoring. Everyone has access to emergency services, not a personal fire department on standby. UBS just extends that same principle into an economy where machines do most of the work. Here's what it actually does. It takes the biggest, most destabilizing monthly expenses and it removes them from the worry economy entirely. Here is a typical breakdown. Housing stabilization, food security, basic health care, internet access and a functional device, and mobility. So, the essentials, not cash, services paid directly to providers by municipalities or other government-approved sources. That distinction is everything, because once housing is handled as a service, you don't have to earn shelter every month just to exist. Once food is a service, you're not lying awake choosing between groceries and the electric bill. And once healthcare is a service, a medical emergency stops being a financial catastrophe. Now let's revisit that $4,000 number. If housing, food, healthcare, internet, and basic mobility are covered as services, that number doesn't just drop, it collapses. What you actually need cash for shrinks to something like $1,000 to maybe $1,500 a month. Clothes, personal items, replacement costs, a little breathing room. That's the difference between survival and dignity. UBS doesn't make you rich, it just makes you not desperate. And that's the foundation that everything else is built on. Pillar 2 is Universal Basic Equity, which is your ownership check. UBE is where conversations usually go sideways, so let's be precise. UBE is not welfare. It's not charity, and it's not guaranteed income, and it's also not confiscating the wealth of billionaires. UBE is ownership in an economy where AI, robotics, data infrastructure, and automated systems generate enormous productivity. The question isn't whether wealth gets created. The question is, how do we make it equitable? Right now, ownership is concentrated. UBE flips that script. It says, you're a citizen, You hold a small, equal, non-transferable ownership claim in this machine-generated economy. One citizen, one share from birth. That ownership pays out as a regular dividend, as an ownership check, not because you worked, not because you complied, but because you and everyone before you, around you, and after you contributed to the environment that allowed this growth and abundance to exist and proliferate. This dividend is designed to be meaningful from the start, around $1,000 a month. That comes from a combination of initial capital contribution and ongoing growth income from the automated economy. And as automation expands, it grows with it. Now let's return to the math. After UBS, you need about $1,000 a month in cash to live comfortably. It's your ownership dividend. It covers that completely. Now the question shifts entirely to, it's no longer how do I survive or even how do I close the gap. It becomes what kind of a life do I want to build beyond the basics. This is fundamentally a different problem to have. UBS and UBE don't replace work. They replace panic. They give you a complete baseline security. They let you say no to exploitative jobs. And they let you say yes to caregiving, yes to education, yes to a creative risk, yes to building something that matters to you. And here's what's important about that. UBE does not disqualify you from basic services. Ownership and dignity aren't mutually exclusive. Now we close the loop because here's what we know. Most people want more than baseline comfort. They want a way to earn more. They want nicer things, better experiences, the ability to travel, upgrade, invest in hobbies, support causes that they care about. That's not greed, that's human aspiration. Enter the third pillar, UBC. UBC starts with one simple, powerful promise. If you want to earn beyond the baseline, there'll always be paid, socially useful work available. Not maybe, not if the market cooperates, always. This isn't about forcing people to work. It's about never trapping them in a position where they can't work. Contribution here doesn't mean traditional employment. It's designed for the people that are not on the ladder to prosperity in the age of AI and robotics, and they may not have the skills, the cognitive ability, or even the desire to get on it. It includes caregiving support, helping seniors, community maintenance, mentoring, school assistance, human oversight of AI systems, local civic projects, things society desperately needs more of, not less. Then there's the critical design choice. UBC includes an availability guarantee. If you want to earn more, you don't beg the market for a decision. You show up, you contribute, and you're paid. The pay is pegged to real public service wage pay. But maybe you want more. Maybe you want to save for a better car, take a real vacation, upgrade your living space, build savings, help family members. UBC makes that possible. You can contribute 10, 20, 30, or more hours per week, whatever matches your goals. The work is there, the pay is fair, and you're building toward the life you actually want, not just scrambling to avoid disaster. Want to do more? Go ahead. If you want to scale back, you can. Need to stop for a while? No problem. There's no cliff, no punishment, and no shame. The loop closed. Now step back and look at the whole system. UBE gives you a stake in the machine economy. UBC guarantees there's always a path to earn more if you choose. That's the loop, and it's designed to close cleanly. Now we need to be realistic about human diversity with respect to cognitive potential and the aspiration for more. Some people will stop climbing. They'll be housed, fed, healthy, connected. They'll contribute a little and they'll be content. That's not failure. In an age of machine-generated abundance, contentment is a valid human outcome. Forcing endless ambition just recreates scarcity logic in a world that no longer requires it. Aspiration doesn't disappear in this system, it becomes voluntary. And for those who want to reach higher, build more, create something bigger, all three pillars provide the stability to actually take that swing without the terror of losing everything. If you take away one thing from this episode, make it this. UBS guarantees you won't be hungry or homeless. UBE guarantees you share in the machine economy. And UBC guarantees that if you want to earn more, there'll always be paid human contribution work available. That's not a safety net. That's an operating system for an abundant society. And in a world where machines generate more than we ever could alone, no one should spend their life terrified just to exist. So thank you for joining me for episode 3. In episode 4, I will model the finances that will make the 3 pillars work. In doing this, I'm going to use our current national income statement and show how we can not only pay for this, but also eliminate the budget deficit and start paying down the national debt. Sounds too good to be true, but it's not. It just requires nonpartisan and non-judgmental policies and legislation. See you all next time.